Don't even think about it.
I guess I need to make some coasters. Ugly. Ugly. Boring. We need to do something more exciting. Maybe some artwork coasters. That looks more like something I would want to display on my table. But not only that, let's do some in glow in the dark, just because we can. We're going to show you how we build the artwork coasters and the glow in the dark coasters. First, we put the images into the computer. These are ones we wanted to use for the glow in the dark coasters. We put some cherry wood, 3/8 of an inch thick, into the laser and started engraving. You want that dark background so when you do a clear epoxy on top, it shows through. If you don't have direct access to a laser yourself, check with some local hobbyists. They're a lot more common nowadays. Or possibly your local school or college may have one available, or a makerspace in your area. This particular coaster only took about 3 minutes on the laser, so it doesn't take long. If you're doing them in the glow in the dark, it's not quite as important to have the dark background. But to get the detail, you almost need a laser, though some images might work on a CNC machine or even hand carved. These are the 4 we decided to do for our glow in the dark coasters. Whether you're doing the artwork coasters or the glow in the dark coasters, you start with a 2-part epoxy. This is just a type that we found at our local hardware store. If you're doing them as glow in the dark, you're going to need some glow in the dark powder. We got ours from Techno Glow, and I'll put a link in the description below. We're doing most of our glow in the dark coasters in a blue, but we're going to do a little bit of green on the Galaxy one. So we measured it out and added the 2 resins together. Make sure to stir well. If you're doing them as an artwork coaster, you're set to go. But if you're doing them glow in the dark, add that glow in the dark powder, and again, stir well. Be generous when adding the epoxy to your material. The wood is going to absorb some, so you want it to be a little bit proud when you're done. So if it does absorb, you're still above the level of the material. This design has pretty thin lines, so make sure you work it in so it's thoroughly down into the cracks. On the Galaxy, we're doing it as a 2-tone. So we're going to do blue around the outside, and we're going to do green for the inside. After the blue was spread, we added on the green and just worked it up to the edge. Now we set them aside to dry for about 48 hours. We want it really dry. Then, onto the sanding. We start with a pretty heavy grit as there's a lot of material to come off. I believe I started with 60 grit here, then moved to 80 and then up to 120 for the final. And there's our glow in the dark coaster, sanded and ready for the next step. The round coaster we cut on the bandsaw and then trued it up on the sander. The larger coasters like the Dern's Door, we cut into 4 coasters. For coasters, I like to use a polyurethane as it stands up great to the moisture. I put about 6 coats on the top and the sides. Then I cut some self-adhesive cork for the bottoms. For the larger coaster sets, I made a small frame to hold them onto the table together when not in use. Here's a sample of some of the artwork coasters we did, using just the clear epoxy. And here's an example of the glow-in-the-dark coasters, during the day and then at night with the lights out. Thanks for watching and have fun with your projects.